Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and today we're mostly going to be looking at some absolutely crazy hands that I played on Saturday night. Well, Sunday morning actually. It's 0:37 when we started the session, 00:37. So Sunday morning on Sky Poker. Then we'll end the video just with like a review of the month today. What I've been up to, what my plans are going forward. But it's mostly just going to be looking at some crazy hands. Some are coolers, some are just bonkers. And yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy it. It's going to be mostly well, exclusively Sky content with the hand reviews, and then just a little delve into Hold'em Manager at the end, um, and like my assessment of how the year to date's gone so far, and how I intend to use the information I've collected so far to like guide me through the rest of the month, February, etc. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the hands. This first one, we have the Queen Nine of Hearts. It's a 20 and L table. Um, and as you can see, it's a pretty good table. We have two green tags, a blue tag. We have Dale, friend of the channel, at the table. And this player who is also a friend of the channel, but I wasn't really familiar with him before this session. Still not that familiar with him now, to be honest with you. Um, but he was kind enough to say hello at the start of the session. Mentioned that he watched the channel, so hello to Mid82. Hope you have a good week, sir, and hello to Dale. So we have the Queen Nine suited. Not a standard open for me under the gun, but it is when we have like three players at the table who I'm going to be keen to play pots with. So we open the Queen Nine suited. Unsurprisingly, we get calls from two of the players that we expected to get action from during the session. We hit the Queen and the Nine. We hit the top pair, which against this guy, who just, I mean, Sky Software is really bad, so we got to be careful that we're not too unkind to this fellow, because Sky Software really is quite bad. So you know that the old poker saying of like this guy doesn't have a full button. On Sky, you just never know. Maybe this poor fucker just does not have a full button. Maybe he only has call or raise, call, raise, bet. Maybe this button here does not exist for this guy on whatever device it is he uses to play poker. It would be a shame if that's the case. It certainly plays like it's the case. Anyways, we get this hand, and this first hand is going to be an example of like why a strategy I've been using on. I don't. In fact, no. Let's play it through because I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Actually, I think there's a hand later on. I was going to say, yeah, I was wrong. I was going to say this is an example of why we can't just like check range on Sky, because quite often it checks through multi-way, but this isn't the hand I was talking about. Um, so this Lucifish bets, this Desnuts calls, and I think against these two players, this hand's just strong enough to raise a value. It's vulnerable. It's definitely vulnerable. It's vulnerable to overcards. It's vulnerable to diamonds. It's vulnerable basically to an awful lot of stuff. And both of these players are perhaps just about loose enough um, to call raises. So I do decide to raise. And I'm not sure if that's big enough, to be fair. Um, it's pretty big in terms of it's that we're asking people to put an extra, what's that, 15 big blinds in each. But if they've got a strong hand or a strong draw, they're probably going to be willing to put more than this in. Either one or both of these guys. You know, if someone's in there with the worst nine, I don't think either of these players are going to fold it. If we made this £6, I think one or both of these players call with a nine. If they've got a jack 10, if they've got two diamonds, we lose value if they've got like an 8x maybe. If we make it £6 here, so we do lose value from some of their like significantly worse made hands. But our hand does need quite a lot of protection, and I think maybe against these two players specifically, if we're deciding to raise, maybe we should raise it bigger. Lucifish folds and Desnuts calls. And this is one of those turn cards where I'm like, that's a little bit dicey. Some hands do improve. 8-7's got there, Jack 10's got there. Two most obvious holdings. Diamonds still haven't improved. But again, I think against this particular player that we still need to bet for value. We need to like protect our hand. And I think I made a pretty big mistake in this part. I think we should just go all in here. We've got like like 140% pot left, and I think we should just jam on this card. I don't think it's a bad enough card for us to want to slow down. We certainly don't want to check and allow our opponent to realise if he chose to do that. And I mean, once we're going up to this number, which is like more than half our stack, I think we should just put the lot in. I end up going with that size, but I think if we're betting more than half our stack on a turn against this type of player, then I think we probably just should put the lot in. And if our hand isn't strong enough to put the lot in, because we don't think we can get called by worse often enough, then we maybe shouldn't be betting at all against this guy. On this board texture, this river comes, and I hated it. And I was at this point, I was like, just check. We certainly can't bet for value. I just don't think we can. In the end, I was like, oh, just check range or check fold to a bet. And he bets that, and I couldn't bring myself to fold. Not for that price. We're getting absurd odds, getting like over 6-1. Maybe, if he's ever like value betting, well, he can't have a worse 9, really, can he? No, he can't have a worse 9. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just didn't want to fall for this price, basically. I was a little bit annoyed, but what can you do? As it happens, I think if we shove that turn, I think with the open end, I think he calls anyway. It's a little bit annoying, but we did get like value on the flop. We got value on the turn, and we lost just a small amount of extra money on the river. Maybe we can just fold that river, but not to this guy. Not in my game anyway. Maybe some of you guys could have found a fold there, but I couldn't, and I probably never will. So this hand's not that long after. He's min raised under the gun. We just have the king 10 off, and this isn't a hand that almost never finds its way into my 3-betting range. But against this player, this guy, like, he's here for fun. He's here to enjoy himself. I'm not going to dig him out, not a chance. He makes the game good. He's here just to have fun. I don't think he's going to expect to make money playing poker. He just wants to enjoy himself. And I'm keen to give the guy action. So I'm going to end up 3-betting here, small, just to try and isolate, because we don't want to go, even though we got the button, we still don't really want to go multi-way with the hand as weak as king 10 off. But I think he's going to play perfectly fine heads up against someone who V-pips as wide as this fellow does. We flop ourselves a top pair. We go with a large bet. He calls. We get a criminally bad turn card. We don't bet, of course. And then the river comes down. Again, he bets tiny. And again, we beat absolutely nothing here. But we might meet some incredibly thin value. Again, what thin value, fuck only knows. I'm probably just making it up as I go along. But again, there's just not a chance of folding. We're just going to lose most of the time. But, again, we're getting an absurd price to just see what the fuck's going on. And he had the aces. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised to see a value hand there. But I was surprised to see a hand as strong as aces played that way pre-flop. So, you live and learn, you move on. And the session had only been going for like 4 or 5 minutes, and we're already down close to a buy-in. And I was thinking, oh dear, it's going to be one of those nights, is it? This hand, I don't remember. Yes, I do. So this hand's going to be played against Rancid, who's someone, to be honest, I don't speak to a lot. He came into the Sky Discord a while back, and I was hoping he was going to be a lot more forthcoming with his thoughts on poker than he has been. That isn't why, I think it was myself who sent him the invite to the Discord. That wasn't the reason why I wasn't like, oh, come in the Discord and show us what you've got. But I thought he would be like a lot more chatty than he has been, but he's not. But I'm getting to know his play better and better. He's not a player I think I have a particular large edge on. He's not a player who I think has a particular large edge on me. Probably nothing between us, to be fair. And sometimes you just got to play against these people. It wouldn't be my first choice of person to be at the table with, but at the end of the day, I'm not afraid of him. He's not afraid of me. I guess we'd both just go about our business and we probably both do okay. So he's raising blind versus blind. I elect just to call with the ace four of diamonds. He bets flop. Don't think there's anything to do here other than call. We turn ourselves 2 pairs. And he bets pretty damn big on this turn card, which, had we not turned the 4, it would have been becoming quite a tough spot. I think as we turn the 4, I think we just have in my opinion, a pretty easy call. Yeah, the board's pretty damn coordinated. We could already be beat. Obviously all 2 pairs beat us except the one we're chopping with. The 6-5's there. He can definitely have sets. He can have stuff that's got a shit ton of equity against us that if it's not ahead already, could be ahead. But there's just no way we could fall to Rancid. He is pretty aggressive post pub. Not with everybody, but I think he is with me. I think he knows that I'm something of a nit. I think he knows I probably overfold, and I think he tries to use that to his advantage, and he tries to exploit me for it. It's a pretty big bet. There's no folding. There's no raising. So we just call. I think I was watching an Easty stream maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and he observed that Rancid was quite spewy, and I think he made a pretty light call down against him. He said there's no folding to this guy. Made a pretty light call down, and of course Rancid didn't have it because Rancid was being spewy that time. We get to this river. I'm not in love with it because even more stuff gets there now. The 10-9's got there, the backdoor heart's got there, the ace jack's got there. It's not a pleasant spot if he bets big. He tanks. He does go big. It's just about full pot, I think, is it? What was in the pot? He's actually an overbet. So he's gone with a small overbet here, and I'm not loving it, but let's be honest, you guys have watched me long enough. I'm a fucking station. There's just no way I'm folding. If he's got me, he's got me. And there's a good chance he has got me here, because there's lots and lots of stuff we're beat by. We beat miss flush draws. I don't think that value bet just a single ace this big. If he had like ace king of whatever, ace king of spades or something like that, there's no way he bets this big. He can absolutely have like a really strong flush here with his backdoor flush on the flop, picked up the flush draw, barreled it, and what have you. So basically, we beat miss clubs, and that's about it. It's a really terrible river, but I'm a fucking calling station, and Rancid is one of the players who can just sometimes turn up with the occasional bit of random stuff here, because I do believe he tries to exploit me by making me overfold. I could be wrong. Rancid could be watching this. I expect he will watch it and be thinking, fucking hell, you fat idiot. What a moron you are calling that, It's my belief, and maybe after this video he doesn't, and this is one of the downsides of making videos. It's why I try not to put hands in with regs, because I don't really want to give away what I think about them or what I think they might think about me. But I thought this was an interesting hand, so it's made it in. So Rancid's getting some free information here. I believe he, or you, if you're watching Rancid, do try to exploit what you think might be my tendency to overfold. I know I'm a fucking calling station. I do overfold weekends, and I call too often in these types of spots. And we do end up making the call. And Rancid has that. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It doesn't look good to me. But if he's just like directly trying to exploit me because he thinks I'm just going to fold too often, then I guess I don't hate it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not good enough to understand if this is, because he doesn't hold like any blockers to like draws and shit I can have on the turn. When he barrels a turn, I don't know. I've seen videos where like not blocking the draws is like good to barrel if you're going to triple off with some of the draws, etc. I'm not qualified to comment on whether this is good or bad. When I saw his hand, I was like pretty surprised because he just had like a zero equity bluff on the turn. So I don't know. I don't know if that's good, bad, or whatever. But I was glad to win the pot. Yeah, this guy, I know he's around a lot these days. He's relatively new to me. He might not be new to some of the other Sky guys. At first, I thought he's got the orange tag. I thought he wasn't that good, but I'm not sure. I think he might be okay, actually. Anyways, we've 3-bet him. And we have a green tag player calling in the big blind. He just jams. This one's nothing to say about this really, other than we're up against a player who's called a 3-bet in the big blind, and he's just had the audacity to flop trips. And then he's significantly dominated, might I add, and then he's had the double audacity to just jam the flop. And we're not going to get there. We didn't get there, and that's not an interesting hand to review. It's just a hand that made up part of the session where, we lost a reasonable sized pot in terms of big blinds. So yeah, we'll move on from that one. Not that much to say about it. Here we have the 2-9s we've raised under the gun. This player, he was blue tagged, but it's not a player I'm especially familiar with. So this blue tag is probably just based on my observing at some point that he likes to play a lot of pots. So what are we going to do? We just have to call. We can't 4-bet, we can't fold. We flop ourselves a top set, which is nice. Our opponent c-bets a full pot. Let's have a look what his stack size is. Let's see what I would do out of the heat of battle compared to in the heat of battle. So he's got £24 behind. We cover, of course. I think there's lots of things we can do. He's min 3-bet pre and now he's potted it. Now, sometimes these like recreational players, when they min 3-bet pre and pot it, they've just got pocket aces or pocket kings. If that's the case, if I think he's one of those players, then there's no reason just not to go all in here. And I think this is like when I'm playing a crossover of sometimes Sky, sometimes Triple Eight, sometimes GG, which we've been playing a bit of last week. My game can become like inappropriate for the games I'm in, because this would never be like a check raise all in a speed poker session against like primarily tighter players, because they're just gonna, if I just went all in here on say GG or Triple Eight and someone had the aces, they're likely to fold at some kind of frequency. Whereas in this game against this particular player, he's never going to fold. So I think I end up going with the size here of like £10 or something, which is nothing wrong with it. But I think it misses value against the top of his range. And if he is just blasting off with Ace King or something else, some other random nonsense, then maybe he's not going to call any check raise anyway. So I think I wouldn't have hated just seeing myself go all in here. As crude and as basic overplayers that might be, I think against these player types on a Saturday night at 1 or Sunday morning at 1 a.m, I think it might just be the best play in terms of getting the most value. But I ended up just going to £10. An opponent calls 8 on the turn, perfectly clean turn. There's nothing to do here other than shove. Once he's called a check raise, we get the pretty safe turn. Well, it's a brick turn anyway, isn't it? Nothing's really improved. 9-7's the only hand that's improved. So we do go with the all in. And we get the call, and our opponent has the tens. Maybe we do if we go all in on the flop, maybe he gets away from that, or maybe he finds it an easier call on the flop than on the turn, because he's now seen 2 acts of aggression from us. Maybe on the flop we just jam. And he's like, oh, lol, this guy's got a fucking heart draw or something. I'm not folding my 10. So I don't know, maybe he calls quicker on the turn, on the flop than he did in the turn, because on the turn he's seen us check raise and he's seen us shove. So maybe we've given him a couple of clues rather than just one clue that his 10s might be in trouble. So I'm not sure if jamming the flop would have elicited a quicker call or not. It doesn't matter how quickly they call, but it does matter that maybe he almost folded, or maybe he was never folding, but he was just a bit sick. I don't know. But anyways, he didn't get there. We held, and that was a nice pot to win. Back to the 20 table. Des Nuts now goes with the min 3-bet. He's got 13 behind. I'm going to go for the 4-bet here, and I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. We just have to get it in here against this player for whatever amount of big blinds this is, 50, 70 bigs, whatever. It's not 70 bigs. What are you fucking talking about, Reg? You fucking idiot. It's 65, 70 bigs. Maybe it's 70. Who knows? Anyways, we just have to 4-bet and get it in. Nothing much else to say about it. Only he doesn't allow us to get it in. He just calls, and we get like, what the fuck kind of flop is that? Our opponent checks. We check back. I mean, this guy, like we said earlier, Sky haven't delivered him a full button yet. They obviously the software's really glitchy in his house, so maybe we can just bet here and get value from ace highs, from like some random small pocket pairs, just three betting. But it felt thin. And when the flop come down, I was thinking, right, try and get to a cheap showdown. The benefit is that this guy, which you've seen in the previous two hands, he's not one for betting big, or doesn't seem to be. Um, so I think even if we do have to call some bets, they're not likely to be huge ones. Let me just check again, and you know that. I mean, so we were never getting value. I mean, he clearly decided not to bluff with a hand that had zero showdown value. And yeah, this is a tiny pot, but I just wanted to put this hand in as an indication of just how much fun the sessions are on Sky at the weekend. Like from Thursday through to like Saturday night, Sunday morning, um, Sky comes alive. It really does come alive, and it's an interesting place to play. Same table again. We have the queens. Again, he's three bet us. Again, I'm presuming we're going to four bet. This time he min clicks it back. I'm like, right, okay, let's go. He's got the ace 10. And of course he hits. Of course we can't just have a session where we get it in good and like just win 8 buy-ins in 2 hours. That's not going to happen. It's January 2022. Of course this sort of nonsense is going to happen. So yeah, good for him. Maybe, to be fair, I mean, when this sort of stuff happens, I'm so fucking old and grizzled and long in the tooth now. I just literally roll my eyes, and literally that's what I do. I have my finger, my hand on the mouse. I'm like, oh god, my eyes will just roll to the back of my head, and we just get up and move on. These sort of hands, they bother me in terms of, oh, for fuck's sake, that's a £20 pot that could have been coming to me that isn't. But they don't bother my attitude to the grind. They don't bother my mood. Just grateful to be. I mean, this table, to be fair, there's only this player that it was existing for now. Friend of the channel, Mid, didn't seem to be contributing much to pots, and then we got like uh, four regulars with myself. So it was only existing for this player, so maybe I shouldn't even be at this table anymore. But and I've totally lost my fucking train of thought now. The fuck am I going on about? Yeah, that's what it was. If I like lose it, if I lost this pot to a regular who just like decided to four bet get it in with ace 10, I'd be like, you fucking dick, what are you doing? And I'd be a bit salty about it. But this is what we want to be. We want to be playing with guys who just like getting it in pre-flop 450 bigs with ace 10 offsuit. They're the games we want to be in. Part of the deal of being in those games is sometimes, they're going to hit, they're going to get there, they're going to win pots. And if you're going to cry and sulk and be a baby about that, then poker really isn't for you. These things are going to happen a lot. Most of the time, we're going to win. What, like 70% of the time, we're going to win. This time we lost. Deal with it, Reg. Get on with it. And I always do. Got to this guy. So we went to this guy Borman. He was just, I mean, he's blue tagged, and he was massively criticising him, and he started typing in before this, which is why I'm saying 100% report you to live chat if you continue. He was doing something quite unpleasant and dangerous. He was like saying he was going to tell me what he'd folded when I was in pots with this guy. And there's enough paranoia around where people think there's collusion and this, that, and the other. And I just wanted to completely disassociate myself with it. I'll normally chat away with recreational players and have a good chat with them. Always let them win the argument, etc. Because your Barry Green style philosophy of like, if you win the pot, you let the losing player win the argument. So that's kind of what I do. It's a bit cynical, I know, but it's part of the business. It's part of what it's just what you've got to do as a good regular. But when he's saying he's going to start telling me his cards, he's folding, etc., against a player who probably loses most of the time. And that's out of line. And I don't want this player reporting to Sky that maybe just say we stack him at some point. Say we stack this guy at some point, and he thinks this guy's had some undue like influence over the hand. I don't want him then going reporting it, and then all of a sudden I've got questions to answer through no fault of my own. So I wanted to make sure that the chat log was was in order in terms of like I could defend myself if anything were to happen, in a likely event something were to happen, and also is just out of line. And I 100% would have reported him if he did start saying what he had. I 100% would have reported him, like whale or no whale. I would report them because like the integrity of the game is more important than keeping one whale happy in the chat box. So anyway, that's why that's there. That big chat there. So we've opened. Richu's called. Richu donks the full pot. And this is my note on Richu donks incessantly, maniac. Only solution, make a hand. It's not the best of notes, but it's a good reference point for this fellow. A good bet call. I mean, again, the play I'm about to make here, you couldn't do this. If you're doing this on specifically snap poker, where there's lots of like tight fish who, when they donk pot, they've just got a good hand. So this is where I'm quite pleased that I got this raise in because it's a play that I forgot to make when I was like off Sky for a while. When I came back to Sky, I kind of stopped raising donk bets because donk bets in speed poker typically are like, not saying they're always very strong hands, because normally it's going to be like a weak type passive player who just has flopped well. And there's just much less value to raising donk bets in speed poker, but on Sky there's like tons of value to raising them. So we just get with the raise here. More than happy to get it in against this guy. This guy's got no chips, so who cares? So he'd called the donk bet with the ace-3 off, which is just like, okay, fine. And he called the all-in, and then he rivered the ace. So, yeah, again, there's literally no point complaining about this shit. It's going to happen. I mean, clearly, I think was it Purdy, was it? Yeah, he had no business being in that pot, but he decided he did have business being in the pot, and that's fine. That's up to him. And he won the pot, so deal with it, Reg. Moving back on again, same table, not too long after. And we have the standard 10x open. I mean, who doesn't open 10x at 0-133 on a Sunday morning? Purdy calls. I mean, there's only one player here. This hand's not going to have very much strategy about it. There's just dead money galore out there. I mean, who knows? His 10x might be aces. But we've got ace king, and we're just going to put all the money in. Purdy fine to fold this time. We get it in fine shape, and we hold. This is a different table. This is I think it's a 20-0. Yeah, it's a 20-0. We have this player who, it's going to be a spoiler alert here. He doesn't stay green for the whole of the session. Then you got this player we talked about earlier, Jimbo, who's like, I haven't seen him for a while, but he seemed to come back towards the end of last week. Maybe he hasn't come back. Maybe he's just been there and I haven't seen him. He's a red tag player, but I'm not convinced by the tag. So we got two options here. We can just flat versus the 4x, or we can 3-bet for value. And I don't mind. Let's see what jackpot does first before we say your jackpot calls. Now I think it's a mandatory squeeze against two opponents. I think heads up against this player, we could maybe consider just flatting pre, because one thing that doesn't happen on Sky is people don't fold to 3-bets. So whereas you can get tons of value pre-flop with a hand like pocket tens from people who don't fold to 3-bets, how often, probably more than half the time, there's going to be an overcard on the flop, and that just makes for like really tricky spots constantly. And it just makes life difficult. Fine, it's all well and good like 3-betting pocket tens pre. You just say we 3-bet this pre-flop, just hit the heads up pot, we 3-bet it pre, 8-9 suited doesn't fold, and we 3-bet to say £2.83. He calls, going to be £6 in the pot, And like 50, maybe even 60 odd percent of the time, there's going to be an overcard on the flop, and then you just don't know how to proceed anymore because their ranges are so wide. They probably don't have very much. But do we see bet? They float quite a lot, or they just call with. Say the ball comes down Queen 7-4. We see bet. Then they're gonna call with the four. They're gonna call with the seven. They're gonna call with. So you don't know where you are. You either end up value owning yourself. You end up missing value, letting them get there, then paying them off. It just gets fucking messy. So I don't think we went up to 3-bet tens. I think against these types of players we can just flat tens sometimes, and then play quite aggressively and fast play them post flop on flops that are suitable for us. I think you've got to get in like higher variance mode of right, the flop's pretty low. Say it comes down 9 high, and just get in check raise mode with pocket tens, which is something you wouldn't do again in speed poker pools. You wouldn't be check raising like mid pairs that are over pairs. You wouldn't be doing that very often in speed poker pools, but I think in Sky poker pools at 22 in the morning on a Sunday, I think we can check raise over pairs for some pretty clean value or against the right players. So, but we do end up going with the squeeze here because there's just two people in the pot. We go with a big squeeze. And this is exactly the situation we've just been talking about. Maybe not quite the same because it's pretty dry. And you see, I'm probably going to go for the check here. I go for it quite quickly. I don't think I should check that quickly. I think that's a mistake. I think this is where I've still got the range check out of position thing in. So I'm like, right, doesn't matter if I'm checking range, doesn't matter how quickly I do it. And that's probably correct against people who understand that you might be checking your range. It's probably not correct against somebody who who may or may not read something into it. He might just read that, oh, this guy's got nothing, I can start betting now. And we don't really want him to start betting. We'd like this pot just to go check down to the river and fucking win against pocket threes or whatever, or raise high. So I don't think snap checking against somebody who might misread what the snap check means. But if I'd snap check this against most of the regulars, because they will understand, oh, Reggie's probably checking range here, especially if they've been watching my videos lately and knowing that I've taken to checking range a hell of a lot more, especially against regulars out of position. So I don't think we need to snap check there, because I don't think there's any reason to. We just call because what else are we going to do? Goes check on the turn, and he bets the river small. We snap call, and again that's too fast because we literally only beat bluffs here. But again, we're getting what price are we getting? We're getting over 5-1 on the call, close to 6-1. Again, it's not nice. The king pairing, probably good. I mean, he doesn't bet the flop. He bets a king on the turn, which we can have a king. He can absolutely have a king. But then he bets this size on the river, which makes you think. Well, two things makes you think. Number one, the second king coming pleases me because it's less likely he has a king. And then using this sizing means it's less likely he's got a king too. I don't think he bets a queen this way, so I think we have to call. But whether I have to call that quickly or not is a totally different issue. And he did just value bet the queen. He didn't bet the queen on the flop when he had reason to, and then he just double barrels it on the turn and river when the king comes. Better play, nice answer. I think if I'd taken more time, I still would have reasoned that I had to call, but I didn't have to call as quickly as I did. It's going to be a pretty basic hand, I imagine, with the 4-bet not fold. Okay, our opponent calls. He bets 20. But this is the guy who called the 3-bet. I think it's the same guy. Called the 3-bet with a jack 8, then just dumped it in on the flop when he hit top pair. No, sorry, when he hit trip. So when he bets 30 pence, if it is the same guy, then who knows what that means? But it doesn't mean he's got quads, I wouldn't imagine. We raise it up, he calls. We shove the turn. I mean, maybe we can just shove the flop. I don't know. But he just has the ace. I mean, why he's calling the flop raise? Well, why he's calling the 4-bet pre? Did we 4-bet pre? Pretty sure we did. Yeah, why he's calling the 4-bet pre? I don't know. Why he's min bet calling the flop? I don't know. Why is check calling all in the turn? I don't know, but we won it, and that's all that matters. We got some much needed respite from nonsense, um, which is certainly something that pleased me. Mega easy squeeze spot here. What size would I like to see myself make it? We've got regular raising under the gun. We've got recreational players. The rest of the players at the table are recreational. Um, again, I think we just need to go really big here. I think what's in the pot? There's already 10.5 bigs in the pot. I think going 20 bigs here is fine. I think we go £4 is fine. I think if we go basically don't go less than £3.20, but just go as big as you dare. I guess. What do we go with? We go with the 360. No issue with that. Jimbo calls. And we just have a really trivial all-in spot. And Jimbo now folds. And it's there's going to be another hand later with Jimbo. It's peculiar that he. I mean, obviously, when we go all in over that, he needs a really strong hand to call. But I'm not sure what's strong enough to call the large, and it was a large squeeze. We squeezed to 18 bigs and then fold to an all in. Given he's going to be getting good odds. I mean, he was probably right. Well, certainly right on this occasion because we had the kings, but peculiar. I'm not sure. Not sure I like it. Anyways, that happens, and I'm just like, rude. That is rude. We've been playing for a little while now, and as you can see from the video, we've had a lot of very good hands. We had a lot of very strong pre-flop holdings, but at this point, there wasn't an awful lot of money coming. There's more money going out of my Sky account than there was coming into it, and I'm like, really? Is this what it's going to be like? Is this just how today has to be? Do you have to keep giving me good hands and then just ironing them out? The frustration was starting to set in a little bit. Again, it didn't affect how I played, but I was starting to get somewhat salty at this point with myself, not with the chat, but with myself. We now move on to another hand. So we got this player who's been upgraded to blue as min raised. This player's called. Jimbo's called. We have the ace king. I think we probably need to make this quite big. It's much less attractive doing it with ace king because we know we're probably going to get calls and we know we're going to miss like 70% of the time. And given there's already 3 people V-pipped, we're going to miss more than 70% of the time because maybe there's some like ace X at least out there. So it's much less attractive. So we just want to try and take this down pre if we can, because it's going to be a tough spot post spot when we miss, and with people's propensity to donk, etc. So I'd rather just take this down pre, if possible. Well, instead, everyone calls, and we get a kind of flop where we're just happy to go broke. This guy's got no money. This guy's got us covered, but we don't care. We've got an SPR at 1.5. We've got top pair, top kicker in a multi-way juiced up pot. It's whatever. It is what it is. It's going to be easy to play from here at least. Check. It's going to check to us. I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler alert there. And I think our size here should just be all in. I think I make no mistake because if we don't get it all, if we just bet flop shove turn, if he's got an ace, he's not folding. If he's got an ace, I don't know what he's doing, and I don't know what ace X Jimbo can really have, to be honest with you. I think we should just go all in and primarily targeting isolating this guy. Hopefully, we just go all in. He calls and these 2 fold. Or maybe they call with the worst hand, I don't know. But I think all in is the play here. I elected not to go all in. Jimbo calls, and I think if Jimbo had like, and on the flop, I mean, obviously it's going to be hard to have deuces now, but I think if he had 60s or deuces when these two fold, I think he just shoves on me because I think my hand's pretty damn fucking face up here as a really strong ace or a flush draw that isn't folding. When I see bet this board, I just have to have a hand. So I think if Jimbo had like a set, he would have shoved some. Pretty confident with a head. I think Jimbo's most likely holding is going to be something like ace queen, or maybe he's got ace king too. He checks. We just have the easiest shove in the world. Jimbo calls, and I was like very. I wouldn't say shocked because I mean you're shocked when a bomb drops on your fucking house or something. This isn't shock, but I was really surprised that. I mean, I guess given these two guys are in the pot, he probably wants to defend that pre. But by all accounts, solvers tell us that this isn't a hand you want to play in 3-bet pots. And then he's called the flop. I mean, I don't know. I don't like it, Jim. I don't like it. I think it's unnecessary. You're still on the turn. I think like the board's paired, so you could be dead. And if you're not dead, you're just not getting the price to draw. God knows. I mean, you're not even beating bluffs. Maybe if he had like the king queen of clubs, he could argue that he's ahead of some of my like worst flush draws or something, or what, who knows? But yeah, I don't like it, Jim. I don't like it at all. And of course, Jim gets there. And this one did irritate me. There was no salt in the chat for me because, again, but this annoys me way more when a regular, in my opinion, well, when a regular plays a hand, in my opinion, badly, and I think Jim has played this badly. I don't think Jim would pretend anything other than that. I do get a bit annoyed, and he typed in afterwards, friendly guy Jim, so I'm not digging him out. He typed in like that was dirty or something like that. I think he actually typed in that was dirty. I think it was a typo, and the more salt that came out of my keyboard was that's one way to describe it. I wasn't happy with this one, but yeah, it is what it is. We lost the pot. Squeezing it up again here because we know Jimbo's going to call if he's got a suited connector. Oh, we've seen this one. Sorry, I've gone back and re-recorded the wrong hand again. Apologies. Move along. Move along. We've seen this one. This isn't Groundhog Day. As you can see now, Poor Jimbo's been downgraded to orange after that 9-8 suited hand. That's my way of getting him back. Have that, you fucker. Have a fucking orange tag. Grow up, Edge. Although, to be fair, perhaps it's a reasonable tag. Yep, fuck off. Lost a flip. I've been playing now for what, like an hour and a half, and I think by this point I was stuck maybe 60 quid, 70 quid, something like that. And I was just like, really? It's the best night or second best night of the week to play after Friday night. I hadn't even played Friday night because the triumvirate of cunts that is PKR Par, Waller 02 and fucking Shrimpy 28 had put on a stream that that I was watching. I watched the start of it. The first hour or so was, well, it was just a complete shit show. The technology wasn't working for them. There was clearly absolutely no planning had gone into it. It was a fucking shambles. So I'd stopped watching about 8:30. I decided I've had enough. I can't watch these fucking clowns any longer. I watched Would I Lie to You with the plan of like watching that then. Starting a grind at 9 o'clock. I thought I'd just flick the stream back on, see if it's improved any, and unfortunately for me, it had. And I ended up like watching them for a bit longer. Then I got a tub of ice cream. By the way, this is the best ice cream I've ever had. Angel Delight strawberry ice cream. Fucking delightful. I had an 800 ml pot of that. And that wasn't my plan to eat it all, but it was so fucking nice. I did eat it all. And then I didn't feel too clever after that. I thought, well, I'll just watch these guys for another hour, let my stomach settle after eating almost a litre of fucking ice cream. And I never did really feel much better after that. And I ended up not grinding at all on Friday night, which is very childish of me. Watching a stream for 6 hours on the best night of the week whilst muffing fucking 800 ml of ice cream. It's not good. It's not what you want to be doing on a Friday. That's a Tuesday night job. It's not a Friday night job. So I lost all of Friday night's best night of the week by far to grind, and I didn't play a fucking hand, which is really quite childish. Anyways, yeah, we we've already lost Friday. Now we're losing on Saturday. It's like, what the fuck is going on? What is wrong with your life, Rich? Anyways, move on. We've got the Jacks. We squeeze it up. This should have been bigger. We've got 2 blue tags. There's no reason to just make this 180. We could just make this like 270 here. Expect to get action from at least one player. So this isolation rate is not big enough. Doesn't matter. Purdy does our job for us anyway. But we're a little bit scared because when recreational players limp raise, we all know it's usually aces. But at this point, we're not willing to fold. We just go all in. Purdy calls them. He has a sevens, which is good news for us. We're finally going to get one back, and we do. Raise, call, min 3-bet. I mean, what is this? Is this just aces or whatever? Who knows? He's going to fold to us. We get the queens. I mean, what size or what seems to make it here? I don't remember what I made it. So let's play a little game of what size should Reg make it and what size did Reg fucking make it. There's 170 in the pot. We don't want to be going less than 350 here, do we? Any less than 350 and I'll be annoyed. And we just have to get it in. And if this guy's got aces, then we're going to lose a buy-in and a bit. We're going to lose a buy-in and a quarter, actually. But at least 350, please, Reg. No, just to fucking piss myself off, I make it 340, but I guess it's close enough. It's the lowest I'd want to make it. Oh, great, there's a king. Fucking wonderful. Oh, there's a queen, though. Delightful. River. I mean, we probably still win. We just have to jam here. We're not that chuffed that that's come, but he can have who knows fucking what. He can have ace king. Probably bets the flop. Doesn't have that. Pocket jacks. Good chance he could have that. As played. King queen. Doesn't seem that likely. Maybe he can have some like pocket threes, pocket eights that he's like not folding pre and then tried to trap with the flop. I don't know, but he just has to go all in anyway, doesn't it? We do hit the all-in button. He snap calls, and of course he has the ace-6 of clubs. He min 3 min. What is going on? He's min 3-bet the ace-6 of clubs pre-flop. He's called a sizable 3-bet. And then, I mean, if that flop doesn't come king high, he doesn't win the pot because I don't check. And then he doesn't get to pick up a flush draw on the turn and then get there on the river. But yeah, just fuck off poker sometimes. I mean, what is this? We've been playing now for like 2 hours, and I think at this point I was maybe down 70 now. It was just like, fuck off. Stop it. Just stop it. Just let me win some pots with my big hands. You cunt. Not you cunt, wherever that player was, by the way. Just you cunt poker. We've flipped a set here, which is nice. We go with the quarter pot, which I think is unnecessary if this guy's got an ace. I mean, I guess we're just not wanting to fold. I wanted to build the pot slightly. I don't want him to fold anything. Maybe we can just check back. I mean, if we're going to betting quarter pot against a green tag, give over, Reg. Grow up. Anyway, he calls. We decide to size up on the turn. Because we need to make sure we can shove rivers. And that's not even going to allow us to shove it. This is why we shouldn't quarter pot the flop. Because, we've got to make really big bets on turns and rivers then. We get min raise, which is absolutely delightful as long as he doesn't have pocket nines. Call. River is a break, and we're going to pause because my telephone's ringing. Apologies, I've lost my train of thought now, but I think this guy did check min raise a turn, so we're just going to call his river shove now. If he shoves, assuming he does shove, I'm ready there with the call any. And yeah, the ace queen, bit of a cooler really, but nice to be on the right side of it. Here we have the ace queen. We've moved on to like 3 in the morning. Still going, still losing. We squeeze this up to 14 big blinds. Too small. Just go bigger edge. We flop out the top pair though, so we're clearly very happy with the situation. Ryan calls. Shut the turn. Happy days. Ryan calls again, and he has the jack 4 off suit. Unfortunately, he gets there, but not in a way that's good enough to beat us. We are going with the 3-bet again, and again, this is too small. 7x. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to price Ryan in here whilst making Daryl and Smart go, specifically fold and, hopefully, I don't really mind what Razza does. I guess I'd rather play the pot heads up. But I think we can just go bigger here. I wasn't super familiar with Ryan. He had my blue tag, but I wasn't familiar with him at the time. Knowing what I know now, this could easily have been a hell of a lot bigger of a value. Although, to be fair, I should have known more because the guy called a... So he didn't call, he called a 3-bet with Jack 4 the previous hand. So, anyways, everyone calls. We get this flop. Ryan bets. We just call. I'm planning on folding if either of these guys raised. I wasn't in love with the situation, but against Ryan, I wasn't hating it. Just hope the other 2 players behind decide to fuck off. Turn ourselves a full house. Ryan bets again. We just call again. Ace on the river. What is that all about? We tried to trap Ryan. We might be now stuck in our own trap. Who knows? But we have a snap call, and Ryan had the 6-3 off. Let's not dwell on what Ryan was doing. Here we have Jimbo's raise. We've called because we want to play a pot with Matty. Calling out of the blinds, probably not everyone's favourite thing to do. I don't give a fuck. I'll do it. Flop ourselves a set. I mean, I'm not sure if we should be raising this at any point. I think the board's so dry. The problem is that we check raise the flop. I don't think there's enough hands Jimbo can continue with. Obviously, he's got like Jack X or better. He's continuing. But if he's like stabbing ace highs, he's folding them. If he's like stabbing with pairs worse than the jack, he's folding them. So I think we just have to play the hand the way we did up to this point. Check the river. Jimbo bets. He's significantly upsized. He's gone small twice. Now he's upsizing. 10-9's got there. The only 10-9. Well, I guess no, that's bullshit. He can have all the 10-9s. Maybe except spades. Maybe even he has spades too when he picks up this on the turn. So 10-9 gets there. I still think he can have a lot of just like Jack X plus, maybe aces, kings, queens too. I think there's some value to be had here. I think we have to raise. It's like what size? What am I targeting? I'm basically targeting one pair stuff that isn't going to fold. Ace, jack plus, queens, kings, aces. I guess maybe just some like random 2 pairs he can have. Jack 8, maybe 8-7 if he somehow finds a bet with the 8-7 on the flop, although it seems unlikely. But we're targeting like one pair, maybe someone like the 2 pairs. We go with the £10 Jimbo snap calls, and he has the 8s, and that's just it is what it is. I mean, Yeah, this is what it is. Nothing much to say about that, really. Disappointing, but we have the ace 10 off here. Devon's joined the party at this point. This is a 20-nil deep table, 200 blinds deep. Devon is active. He's orange. I think that might be flattering. This hand is just like something of a clusterfuck, though, because, like, I don't want to call ace 10 off out of position. I don't want to fold it because Devon's too active. I think it's too strong. This hand's too strong to fold to Devon, I think. Maybe out of position at a deep table. Maybe we can just fold it. I don't know. But I wasn't in the mood to fold to Devon, I'll be honest with you. Things still weren't going super great. I was not in the mood to fold to Devon. We decided to go with this might be a really shit option. This might be really bad. Devon, well, he's going to call because let's face it, the hand. If he just folds, the hand wouldn't be in here. He calls, we flop ourselves as well as we can, I guess. I mean, Devon shouldn't have any 6x, but I guess he can. I guess he can have like 6-7, 6-5. He's certainly aggro enough to 3-bet them hands pre sometimes. Not all the time, but certainly at some frequency. So we check in. We just in trap Devon mode or just get to showdown mode. But I think it's going to be really hard to get value here. Our kick is shit. Yeah, so the best way to if more money goes in this pot and we're going to be good, it needs to be Devon being the man putting it in first. So, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, maybe he just doesn't fold with pocket queens, pocket jacks. Who knows? But we check the turn. And I'm still just hoping this goes check, and we beat pocket queens or pocket tens or something like that, pocket nines. And river, check again. Devon comes with him. I'm going to snap call this really quick because against Devon, I don't think there's any folding of this hand. I think Devon can absolutely have pocket jacks, although maybe he bets a turn. He could absolutely have pocket eights. If he does, then fuck our lives. Like, when you're looking now, he's got like lots of eights in there. Is he trying to rep the eights with the 8 at the end? I don't know. But I can't 4-bet ace x pre and then fold to Devon. Maybe we can, maybe we should, but I can't do it. It's not in my makeup, and Devon turned the sevens into a bluff. And I think Devon's line's reasonable there. I think like pre-flop, he doesn't have to call. In fact, pre-flop, I think he should just fold. But I think given the line I've taken, I look a lot like I've got pocket queens, pocket kings. I mean, I don't hate Devon's attempt to try and buy that pot on the river. Just sadly, he ran into a red that wasn't in the mood to fold. Basically. Here we have Ryan again. Ryan, at this point, was very clearly an incredibly active player, and I was just very keen to get as many pots with him as I possibly could. We just call here, we turn straight. This hand's not going to be very interesting. He goes all in, we call. He's got equity, but not a lot, and we drag the pot down. Just call. Don't want to 3-bet Devon with this hand because we want the weaker players in the blinds to come in. I think we can definitely be ahead of Devon's range here. Well, we are. We don't. Whether ahead of his entire range, I don't fucking know. But he could certainly have worse hands, and we want these guys to come in. So just plan the button and flop the juts, flop the absolute joint, which is nice. Devon checks. We're just going to go big here. We're just going to hope that either one of these players is in top pair or 2-pair plus zone. So we go with the almost pot-sized bet. Mikey calls. Devon calls. Turns absolute glorious brick. Landed with a hell of a thud. Check again. And we're just going to bomb it again. Because the turn's such a brick. Don't expect anything that called the flop. I expect to call the turn. At least one of them. Maybe not both of them, but at least one of them I expect to get a call from here. So there's no reason to bet small. And perfect run out, shove the river edge. Possibly one of the most easiest to play hands you'll ever have in your entire life. And we get the call from the 2 pair. Things are now starting to like track for the better. You can see we're starting to get some stacks. It's like 419 in the AM. And I think I've reached Profitville by now. There's been lots of like smaller pots against fish that haven't made the video, like the fish we just stacked them for like 30 bigs, 40 bigs, etc. But we are out of the hole at this point. It's 4:20 in the morning. We've been playing for 4 hours. And we are out of the hole, so things are starting to improve. And we flop a set multi-way with Ryan in the pot. I mean, that is just delightful. It's exactly what you want to see. After been grinding this long, you're wanting a bit of gravy at the end of your session. Hopefully, we're about to get it. This is not ideal because Dockster, anyone who plays on Sky will know him. He's got my green tag. He's just a tight recreational player. You don't. It's not a player you don't want to see at your table, but he's kind of an empty seat a lot of the time. But when he's putting money in pots post flop, he's generally got strongish hands. If he raises, he's just nutted. So at least he didn't raise. But it's not the best of turn cards. Some stuff gets. Don't think Dockster has much of it, but Ryan certainly can. But we've got a fucking set. We've got Ryan. We're not going anywhere. Let's not get too scared of our own shadow. The only thing I was worried about in this hand was the presence of Dockster. Does Dockster have any slow plays with exactly pocket tens? Probably not. Just call. I think we should probably just raise here. There's just too much going on. We don't want Doctor to come along, see a black card, see a green card, see a 4, see a 7, see a 9. I think this card's bad. I think we just need to raise at this point. I think I'm getting too cute here against Ryan. I just don't want to lose Ryan, basically, but I think this is bad. We just need to raise. We get one of the cards we didn't want to see. Ryan slowed down, now he's stopped betting. It's on the thinner side. But against this player, it's just not. Against some players, you maybe wouldn't want to go all in here. Well, maybe you would. I don't fucking know. Maybe I'm just a big Jesse. But we ended up piling it in. Once Ryan doesn't snap call, we know we're good. So now we're wanting the call. And Ryan does finally find the call. And I mean, for the hand Ryan was showing it with, that is a cooler. Because the guy's turned to himself 2 pairs. So, I mean, that's one of the strongest hands he showed down all night. And he still lost. Shame for Ryan. And now we're getting our stack up. We've got nearly 120 big blinds. And we're starting to motor, but tables are dropping. At one point during this session, I was like 5 tabling. I think we're down to 2 or 3 at this point, and I'm getting ready to call it a night. Here with ISO to 6x. I think we can probably go bigger. Don't remember this hand at all. And we get check min raised. Call. Yeah, I do remember this hand now. So when we get check min raise on the flop here, I think that this is just pure value. It's sets of 6s, it's sets of 4s, it's sets of queens, and it's some like queen X, ace queen. It's value. But then when he just bets this size on the turn, I'm like, right, okay, well, on this turn, would a weaker player like use this size with his sets? And I decided no, he wouldn't. I decided he was way more likely to be trying to set his own price with any random draw that he might have had, or he was just like sizing badly with Queen X, etc. So I decided my kings were good, and we decided to go all in, I guess, because of the amount of draws that were out there. And he had the set of 4s. Now I'm not like trying to price draws out. It's like I can get value from draws with the shove, and I didn't want to just call, and then a card come on the river that would scare him with his worst hands. I mean, we're always going broke against this. Well, not always. I guess we could just call the turn. But I mean, yeah, check being raised by a flop, by a fish is like, yeah, it's usually like a nutted sign. But then the sides on the turn maybe decided it wasn't nutted. Turned out it was, and we get dragged back the second time. A Whoppers made quads against me in the session, by the way, and we're getting dragged back down again a little bit. I still think we were up at this point, but is that the last hand? I thought there was more hands than that. Is that really the last one? I thought there was one more. No, it's the last one. So, anyways, at the end of that session, the upshot of it was, I somehow managed to finish. Like, I think it was £83 up, might have been 87. Can't remember, but it was okay in the end. We had a lot of bullshit going on. We had a lot of like really good hands just getting ironed out by bad hands. But overall, it went well. And I was really pleased with the fact that we, even though things were going badly for 3/4 of that session, or perhaps like 2.5 hours out of the four, things were just going wrong. All my good hands were getting cracked. And then a couple of times maybe I misplayed a couple of hands, and I think like my peak low was like minus 80 quid, maybe slightly more, and we ended up winning like 80 something pounds. I'd rather have won more because the tables were of a sufficient quality where playing for 4 hours on those tables, I think on a good night you can hope to make 200. On an average night, probably make like 4 or 5 buy-ins. So depending on which 20 or 30, make anything between like 100 to 150, and we made below par. But given some of the nonsense that happened, that we've got to be happy with. A, the fact we turned it into a winning session, and B, the fact we just didn't tilt. We just carried on grinding. We just dealt with it. We got on with it, and we did okay in the end. So we'll move on to the Holder Manager graph. This is for the month. I wonder what it was for last week, actually. Last week, yeah, we made whatever that is. Fucking, it's hard to fucking get it down. We made whatever that is, like 60 something, 70 something dollars. Not that fucking great, to be honest with you. That extra blue line is because I played a hand on GG, where I got it in. I think, what was it? No, we got it in pre, sorry, with Ace King against Kings. We spiked an ace, and that little insurance box popped up, and it was only costing me something like, I think it was 3.6 bigs to insure my hand against a one outer. And for some reason, I clicked the button, and the one outer came, and so I didn't lose the stack. And it didn't show in Holder Manager. In Holder Manager, it just showed that I'd lost. So I put like a $24 bonus in on GG because that's basically what it was. So yeah, if we look at the blue line, we've made just over $100. So that's like 110 or something. But the thing I want to talk about most about is I knew I wanted to play just on Sky at the weekend because like Sky at the weekend is really good, even though I fucked Friday night up by watching fucking clowns streaming and eating too much ice cream. The plan was like, right, we'll play Thursday, Friday, Saturday on Sky. Sunday, probably a day off because cash games on Sundays typically a bit boring and not the worst day off. My wife's off work, spending some time with the wife. Of 1 day a week, just saying, right, there's no poker. So I'd play a little bit in the evenings, but not a lot. So I'd like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll play more speed poker. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll play all exclusively Sky. And then last night, I was like, what time would it have been? After midnight, I think. I'd had a nap early on, so I wasn't tired. And I just fancied playing some poker after my wife had gone to bed. Sky games didn't look anything special. So I put, I think I put some money back onto Triple Eight. And literally within and this is really encouraging, by the way, within 2 or 3 hands, it's like, I don't want to do this. This is fucking shit. The HUD stats came up, just like based on what I've seen over the weekend on Sky, it's like some really good tables. Like, what are you fucking doing, Reg? So I just stopped playing straight away and just cashed out. If you can see the session, if we put this back to the month to begin with, this month we got the session. you can see I played 58 hands, 6 minutes. I was like, fuck this. I don't want to do this. I just don't want. I can't be asked to play. I don't want to play. So I ended up going and playing on Sky, and the small win, booked a small win, pleased enough with it. But yeah, the most encouraging thing for me was I loaded up a speed poker session and immediately didn't want to do it, and that's really good. Because I hope it means like it's my body rejecting speed poker. And it's not been terrible this month, not by a long stretch. We've played 44,000 hands, and we've made $429, an all-in EV win rate of 4.57. If we just count the 25 and L games, it's gone really well. We're winning at 8 bigs 100 over 30,000 hands, which, whilst not an amazing sample, is not insignificant either. Then you've got that a little bit on party poker too. If it wasn't for this, couple of bad 15L sessions, we'd be, this would be up at what, like close to 700. So financially, it's not the worst thing in the world to play those games. But as the months gone on, I've been less and less enthused by them. I said last week, played a little bit on GG because I was just fed up with all the short stackers on Triple Eight. So many players on Triple Eight, they're just buying in for the minimum, bleeding down, playing like it really spoils the dynamic of the game. On top of that, you've got enough aggro regs that just make it a tough game, sometimes a tough pool. And I think I just got sick of it. I genuinely think, in the past I've tried to quit speed poker when I've still kind of been wanting to play it, Whereas now, at the moment, the way I'm feeling is just like, I don't want to play it. I do not want to play it. So with that in mind, I've got no money now on any site other than Sky. I've put all the money back to the bank. So effectively, with the money I've taken off the other sites, I've kind of paid myself for the next, I don't know, 3 or more weeks, which is nice, which gives me a bit of a free hand to just rebuild the Sky bankroll, because I took some money off Sky around the start of the month, because I thought I was mostly going to be playing speed poker. So I've got a nice little opportunity to just play on Sky for a few weeks, have a bit of a rebuild. I think I started on Thursday with £500 in my Sky account because I don't keep too much online. It's been a good weekend. I'm now I'm not sure tell you what the account's up to, but it's healthier than £500, and I've got a free hit now. And what I've got to ask myself is what am I going to do when I'm bored? Because that's my biggest issue. If I could just do nothing, wait till the evenings, I could just play on Sky and not care. But I have loads of spare time during the daytime. When I get bored, and that's typically when I'm oh fuck it, Reg, play some GG. But then I'm burning myself out for the evening, and I don't want to play on Sky in the evening. So what am I going to do during the day when I'm bored? And that's my issue. And I think it's just going to be better for my not burning out at poker to just play the Sky as well during the day, even though there's often not traffic. If it's just a boredom factor, then just play whatever's going. If it means I've got to play 10 and L or whatever, then just play 10 and L on Sky, because my hourly rate on 10 and L Sky is probably going to be a tiny bit worse than it is if I was playing on GG or Snap. I'm going to be paying more rake. But yeah, I think I'm really pleased with the fact that last night I logged in and then didn't want to play after literally 6 minutes. What are you doing, Rich? So Snap withdrew. I don't care that I lost a little bit on the exchange rate, because it's a really positive sign. I was really pleased with it. So yeah, the plan is, and hopefully it'll be quite easy to stick to, given how I felt when I loaded up last night. I think I might need a second site, but I think it needs to be a site that doesn't have speed poker, possibly Unibet, maybe the apps. Maybe I get back in touch with my old agent and maybe have a look at the app scene. But the app scene was never that great during the daytime, and at night time we've got Sky anyway. So I don't know, but I need a second site. I haven't decided what that's going to be yet. But yeah, it's really encouraging that we're not going to be playing speed poker. So with that in mind, until you hear me on video say I'm going to play speed poker again and give justifications, if anyone sees me and can prove it, and by rigging a photo up or photoshopping anything, if they can if they catch me, if they prove they played a hand of poker with me at the party poker, username It's Reggie. GG Poker, username JC4PM, or Triple Eight, username Reggie Time. If you can prove you played a hand of speed poker with me in any of those sites between now and before I make a video saying I'm going to start, I made a conscious decision to play speed poker again, I will give you £100. Simple as that. I don't want to play them, and making that commitment will make sure I don't play them until I've at least made a video. If I make a video next week saying I want to play them again because I'm struggling for volume, then this bounty is off. But until I make a video saying I'm going to start playing them again, if I just what it does, it prevents me from just randomly on a Tuesday night thinking I'm bored, let's just play some speed poker. It's going to force me to go to Unibet. Oh, by the way, the same catch for Grosvenor too. If you catch me on Grosvenor, username Paul Regan. Or on Paddy Power, username Reggie. Or William Hill, username OMG Jamie Gold. If you see me on any of those sites, the £100 stands, except if it's Grosvenor PLO, because I still like having a dabble like that now and again, just for my own fucking perverse amusement. So if you see me playing No Limit Hold'em on any Euro site with any of those screen names that I've mentioned, and you can prove it and you're not rigging it up, I'll know. By the way, if you've rigged it, I'll know, because I know what I've done and what I haven't done. So, but yeah, if I do it and then you catch me, £100, it's to you. That's what's going to happen. So, how's the month to date gone? We are $429 up, which looks like this in graph form. That's I think when I checked this morning, I was at £179 up on Sky, but I won. I won a small bit of amount last night. So I think when I worked to do my counting for the month this morning, not counting last night because it hasn't been updated by Sky yet, I'm up like 560 quid for the month. I think with what I won last night, maybe going to push me close to £600. And given that I haven't felt great this month, given that it hasn't felt like it's been going that well, 24 days in, being around £600 up, probably slightly more because that's based on just the green line, not the blue line. So maybe we're up maybe 630. I guess I can't complain too much at that. We're 3/4 of the way through the month. We made over £600, and it hasn't gone well. I just know it can be gone so much better. So I'm going to give myself a pass. I'm going to give myself like a B minus so far for the year to date, because it certainly could have been better. I could have played less speed poker. I could have played like less 50 now, which I shouldn't have played. I could have put more time into Sky, where my win rate's just going to be higher and my hourly rate may be higher or not, but even if it isn't higher, I just enjoy it more. And you can't underestimate that. You can grind. Like if I grind, say, GG Russian cash 37 hours a week, that's a fucking job. I think I'd actually rather just have a job than do that. But on Sky, it's not a job; it's a hobby, and it's a hobby that I'm making money from. And that's kind of what poker's been to me for the past 15 years. And it's started this year. I've kind of turned it into a bit of a job, and I've not enjoyed it as much. And I'm like I said, I'm glad. I think I'm finally sick of myself a little bit of speed poker, because that's really promising. But what I have proved is just how many hours I can put in. Because what have we got so far this month? We've got. Let's get the calculator out, Reg, because I can't be asked to do maths on the fly. We've got 48 plus 21. So we've got 69 hours in just at the speed poker tables. Without question, I'll have paid at least 30 hours on Sky. So we've got 100 hours in minimum, and we're only 24 days in. So we're averaging 4 hours a day play, and that's in games that I've not massively been enjoying. I think we could probably go better than that. A smaller window of opportunity to play on Sky, but even if we are just doing on average 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, obviously, some days I'm going to play more, so I'm going to play less. But there's still 28 hours a week, and it's still going to be getting like over 100 hours a month in. And if I get 100 hours a month in on Sky, whilst the games stay as they are, it's assuming there's no real change in game quality, I'm just going to meet my requirements and more. I'm going to exceed my financial requirements. So even though the year to date doesn't feel like it's going brilliant so far, it's going fine. I say it's B minus. And I know where the room for improvement is. It's mostly around game selection. So fingers crossed. The next update, which is probably now just going to be Mondays. If I'm going to be playing only on Sky, I'm probably just going to record my Friday and Saturday night sessions and do stuff like this on a Monday. I don't really want to make them this long again. But if I'm just recording like weekend sessions on Sky and just reviewing like the hands we did today, no real strategical benefit to reviewing them. It's just me making a little like vloggy thing for a small number of people who might enjoy it. So, yeah, it's not going to be super. It's never going to be super deep strategy wise. It's mostly just going to be this is my weekend on Sky. These are like the crazy hands. These are maybe one or two semi interesting hands against regs, although I'm going to try not to do that because it did feel a bit dirty. That rancid hand discussing that, I'd probably rather not have put that in, but I thought it was interesting. So yeah, it's just going to be it's going to be like today, basically, but hopefully not as long, but probably even longer because if we're putting the Friday and the Saturday sessions in there, we could end up with like fucking 50 hands to review. So maybe we only end up reviewing the 100 Blade Line pods. I don't fucking know. Rambled on too long. Have a great week, everybody. Hopefully have a better than a B minus week. I'm hoping for at least a B plus, maybe an A minus week. Hope you guys have that too, whenever you're playing. Yeah, stay safe, stay well, look after each other, be lucky, and yeah, I guess I'll be back next Monday. If I'm not back next Monday, it's because things have gone really badly, or because the sessions were just quite boring, or because I just can't be asked. But yeah, if not, no, next Monday definitely because we'll do an end of month review. But yeah, I'm rambling now. See you later, everyone. Take care.